On the back.
Is it a highlight?
No.
No.
I don't know. I think they want to talk about that. Okay.
Is that pins or pencils?
Oh, hey, look at there.
You have yours back.
Have fun.
I need to bring this one. You want fancy?
We?
We don't know.
You know, it's my job speaks to family. You see that? I did yesterday morning, 5:45.
Get our force camera out?
We had to get scheduled.
But he did approve it, right?
But I wouldn't take the call. I wouldn't have
And if when the 911 center starts hiring, let me know. Because I'd love to on the drive.
I'll let you know.
We'll need IT people.
They have their own. It's under city cabinet, so they're their own IT people.
Okay, so I guess I just need to have my daughter get up. She works for you.
It is 6:30 in the evening. On September 17th, I'd call this meeting to order. Ms. Hall, would you give us a prayer, please?
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we recognize this evening as we gather together that you have created us and sustained us and provided for us. Give us an opportunity to serve our community and serve our neighbors. And we just pray, Lord, that as we make decisions this evening, we be ever mindful of our responsibility and be careful with care and your guidance, we pray, as we move through this night. We thank you for our community. We thank you for the people who serve us, all the different ones who serve us in different departments, from the street department to the fire department, to the police, the city hall, and all these, water department, and all of them. Lord, we just pray that you would keep them safe and protect them. We thank you for their service. We pray your blessings upon us this gathering this evening. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Please join me in a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Very good, thank you. And Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Hall.
Here.
Councilmember Chapman.
Here.
Councilmember McMahon.
Here.
Councilmember Hefner.
Here.
Councilmember Brooke. And Councilmember Rubel.
Here. All are here. We have a quorum. Council, first up on the agenda is the review and approval of the council meeting minutes from August 20th. They've been presented to you. I'd welcome a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes carry. Motion carries. Next on the agenda is department reports. Financials will be provided to you next month for August. We'll take a look at them then. But for the rest of them that were provided for you, I'd entertain a motion to approve as presented.
Motion.
We have a motion. We have a second.
Second.
And we have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next on the agenda is the Planning Commission report.
Good evening. I have a report on last month's meeting. We had several things, but they kind of relate to each other. So the first thing was a replat for Deerfield Estates Phase 6, lots 6 and 7. That was to accommodate FEMA requirements for the back of the lot. So they created an extra lot at the back of each lot to allow for that FEMA allowance. So
Like 3 foot.
yes, like an extra, yeah. And then Lot 15, Magnolia West, they had a replat. The building had been built, but unfortunately the house had been built, but unfortunately the garage was built in front of front building lines. So they had to first request a replat that allowed for easements to make it accessible to the city, and then a variance as well to encroach on that front building line. So we approved both of those, and we recommend to council that you also approve it, the replat section of both of those.
You have
I'm sorry?
Legacy Farms also?
Yes, and then Legacy Farms, Phase 1 had a fourplex that they just wanted to make sure that the lines on the plat lined up with the interior building walls on those 4 separate, because there's 4 owners. So they wanted to make sure everyone had a clean plat. And we approved that as well.
Council on replats, it requires council action, so we'll take these one at a time. For Deerfield Phase, lots 6 and 7, I would entertain a motion to approve the replat as approved by the Planning Commission.
That was a FEMA issue? Okay.
That was for easement in the back.
Pardon me?
That's like more or less an easement they're putting in the back.
Right. Yeah,
Motion.
it's in a floodplain.
Second?
So we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
That motion approved. Next on is the replat of Lot 15 in Deerfield, no, excuse me, in Magnolia West.
Magnolia West, yes.
That was the building line. It was put just before the building line. Just need to make a change for that.
Well,
It
they
happens-
created more easements for the
Right,
city
and
to be
created
able
more
to go
easement
around
off
that.
the
They didn't
variance.
change the building line.
Okay.
They
That's right.
changed the building line.
They asked for a variance for the building line, but they added the easements for the replat to allow for city to access.
Access back to the detention pond behind it.
Correct,
That's the replat.
Yeah.
The replat allows us to have access to a detention pond that's behind there. The variance is already approved by the Planning Commission as for the lot line.
Motion.
So motion second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Last is Legacy Farms. Legacy Farms is just a replat to clean up all the lines of the buildings they built for the fourplex.
Correct.
Motion?
The motion second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Anything else?
That's all.
I entertain a motion to approve the Planning Commission report as presented.
Motion.
We have a motion with a second
Second.
and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is the Wastewater Advisory Committee report. Councilmember McMinn.
We had a great meeting. Everybody attended. We're still short 2 members from outside the city limits, so if anyone would like to join, please reach out to us. And we went over, I'm going to say this wrong again. Where's Brian? I always want to call it something net. It's not net.
ShareNet.
It is ShareNet? Okay. Okay, well, I lied. I had it the wrong way. ShareNet, we went over how to read some of that information, and we're just trying to gain more knowledge so that we can understand what we're talking about. We are going over the bills next month, so Brittany will be presenting those and explaining to us how to read the water bills so that we can better explain that to our community members.
Very good. Any comments or questions? Thank you very much. Next on the agenda is the Street Parking Committee. Chief, you have a report?
No, sir, we did not meet because of fire chief and his festivities, but he's back today, so we'll get a meeting scheduled.
So, as he's walking up to the mic,
Well, I didn't figure you had a problem hearing me anyway.
I don't, but the mics do.
Well, they're inanimate, but no, we did not have a meeting because fire chief, as you all know, got married and had his honeymoon. So he came back today, so we'll get a meeting scheduled.
Very good. Thank you, Chief. Very good. Next on the agenda is old business. Ordinance 2024-17. It's on the second reading. Would you read the title, please?
An ordinance amending ordinance 2019-08, establishing permitting requirements for nonprofit organizations and for other purposes.
Council, this is the second reading of this, and as I stated last time, we had discovered that we didn't have procedure for permitting nonprofits, so we can make sure that they are into the fire inspections on the counter. So we needed this, and this is a non-fee permit.
Motion to approve second reading.
Second.
We have a motion and second.
Question. I'm sure, like I said, I must not caught it when the last time we met, but.
Okay.
So we're gonna say to all of the, because of all the positions, we're gonna say to all the churches, they have to have a permit to exist? Is that what we're trying to say? Because they're obviously in that stack of
Right,
people you've
right.
listed there.
That's very true. Yes, there'd be a nonprofit, a non-fee permit, so we can get them into the line so they can have their annual fire inspections, which are required by the fire codes.
Okay,
Not a permit to exist as a church.
yeah.
So literally just so that you have
So
more
the fire
acknowledgement
department can come in and check and so.
and make sure everything.
I was gonna say, I've been pastoring for 30 years and I've never got a permit to
Understand that.
exist, so.
Have you got fire inspections annually?
I've never had a fire
And
inspection.
your insurance is probably,
That's the problem.
I'm not real worried about it, but I.
well,
so-
your
Cover
insurance,
your insurance.
yeah. I know my insurance company has asked time, because at our church has asked time or two, and they don't like when we say no, so. This, and if the church says, we don't want you to come in to be doing the fire inspection? Okay,
Well, I don't want
we'll
you,
annotate that.
I don't want you messing with our snakes and stuff.
You do realize you're on public? All right. Any more discussion, any public discussion on this concerning snakes and church? Oh, never mind. With that, we have a motion to second. Roll call, please, for the approval for the second reading.
Councilmember Hall,
Yes.
Councilmember Chapman,
Yes.
Councilmember McMahon,
Yes.
Councilmember Hefner,
Yes.
Councilmember Brooke,
Yes.
Councilmember Rubel.
Yes.
Ordinance 2024-17 has been approved for its second reading. We'll bring it forward next month for a third and final reading.
Mayor, can I make a motion to skip the third reading?
If you'd like to, you want to make a motion to waive the third reading?
Waive the third reading, yes.
We have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? With that, I'd entertain a motion to adopt.
Motion.
Ordinance 2024-17.
Second.
And a second. Any public discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Chapman,
Yes.
Councilmember McMahon,
Yes.
Councilmember Hefner,
Yes.
Councilmember Brooke,
Yes.
Councilmember Rubel,
Yes.
and Councilmember Hall.
Yes.
Ordinance 2024-17 has been approved, adopted. It'll be in effect in 30 days. Thank you, council. Next on the agenda is ordinance 2004-18. Would you read the title, please?
An ordinance amending ordinance 2024-03 to clarify access to water meter boxes, to establish ownership responsibilities for wastewater lines, and for other purposes.
Council, if you remember, we had a lot of discussion last time on the first reading about who's responsible for what under lines, and we modified the subparagraph 3 to accommodate that. I did put a note that if it's determined that damage blockage is a result of the contractor or homeowner's negligence, intentional or accidental damage, the city reserves the right to seek reimbursement and/or criminal charges if warranted. Any discussion?
I didn't see that one. I think the old one was uploaded for the deals.
Was it?
I believe so. Because I didn't see the updated one.
There you go. You look at paragraph 3.
I do like that you put intentional.
Any further discussion? Any public comment? Aaron, yes. Yes. The footnote's on the bottom of the back page. I'd entertain a motion to approve ordinance 2024-18 on its second reading.
Motion?
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember McMahon,
Yes.
Councilmember Hefner,
Yes.
Councilmember Brooke,
Yes.
Councilmember Rubel,
Yes.
Councilmember Hall,
Yes.
and Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Ordinance 2024-18 has been approved for its second reading. We'll move forward, bringing it back to next month for a third reading. Next on the agenda is ordinance 2024-20. Read title, please.
An ordinance providing for the placement of speed humps and for other purposes.
Council, if you remember, we brought this together to make a procedure on how citizens can request speed humps into their area. I open the floor for discussion.
Thank you. As he points at me.
Well, you told me you want to talk, so
I
there you go.
do.
Please
I do. I'm
identify
not
yours-
afraid to talk.
No, please identify yourself.
I'm Cheryl Ekman. I live on Ferguson Drive, which is in the Oakland Grove subdivision. And I'm sure there's not one subdivision in Ward that does not have a problem with speeders. We have a problem definitely with people speeding through. Residents do it as well. But we have a big problem with people, especially in the afternoons when traffic backs up on 38. People cut through our subdivision to go over to Dogwood to beat the traffic, which means, sorry, they're hauling ass through our subdivision. It's going to end up in a tragedy. The other day I stopped, there was a little boy on a scooter that went right across the road. Never stopped, never looked. And if anybody had been going any kind of speed, the kid would have been dead. I know we've complained or talked with Mayor before about it. We've talked and complained to the police department about it. And we have four-way stops in different parts of the neighborhood. And some people stop, some people don't pay a bit of attention. We're right by one of the four-way stops, so we see it all day, every day. So we are definitely in favor of the speed humps, speed bumps, whatever we can do to slow people down. And of course, we've spoken about it slowing down emergency services. And we know that's going to be an issue, but we have to do something in these subdivisions. And ours isn't the only one. Ours is a smaller one. I know there's a bigger one being built that I think eventually will be within Ward City limits, probably. So we think it's a good idea. We've talked with people in the neighborhood. A lot of them think it's a good idea as well.
So you support this ordinance?
We do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else like to speak?
My name is Beth. I live on Saunder Drive in Oakland Grove
Beth, what's
neighborhood.
your last name?
Ekman.
Okay.
Same thing as she says, everyone cuts through, speeds through the neighborhood. We actually saw a couple of girls a few days ago that almost got hit because they were in the road and there was a guy in a truck driving through and wasn't paying attention, and they got out of the road at the last minute and we're like, oh, that could have been bad. And I have on video of recently sent a video to the chief of a resident of the neighborhood hauling. I yelled, slow down, hauling through the neighborhood. I yelled, slow down, and he revved his engine and proceeded to just haul through the four-way stop. Sent that video into the chief, and so hopefully it's getting taken care of. We haven't seen anything as of yet. But my question is this going to be more so an ordinance for everyone to decide rather than just you to?
Yes.
Okay, so would this be like, we would still have to do a petition in the
Yes.
neighborhood and then bring it to you guys?
Yes. The
Okay.
procedures are you have a petition for that street, and then it's brought to the city does a traffic study, make recommendation, and then the
Okay.
council makes the final approval.
So each street in the neighborhood would have to do their own petition.
Correct. As opposed to a street in the neighborhood deciding another street over there gets a speed hump.
Okay.
And it's only 75%
Sure.
of that, it's only 75% of the people on that street
Right.
has to
Agree
approve
with
it, agree to it.
Right.
Don't-
75%?
Yeah, it's not everybody on the street has to agree
Is
to it.
it anybody who lives there, or is it homeowners? Because we do have a lot of renters. One person per house, so it doesn't matter if they're homeowners or renters.
No,
Okay,
it's who's living there.
okay.
But this
And
gives
then-
us a procedure instead of just you or whatever else coming to me and wanting a speed hump, and then it's all on my shoulders to make that decision, or the next
Right.
mayor, or whatever.
I
It
like
puts
that
us-
it's not on all just your shoulders.
Well, and I like it too, because it should be a collective effort on,
Yeah.
to make sure that we all understand what we're doing, and that the
Right.
people of that neighborhood understand and agree that's what they want.
Right, yeah. And then, as we've talked about before, I think the Dollar General that's going in is just gonna make our traffic through the neighborhood even worse, so. But I agree with everyone being able to make that decision and not just one person.
And after riding around in the fire truck, speed humps would not be as big an issue as the parking in the street.
I agree
But there is some of that, yes. Okay.
We definitely need an ordinance
Any,
for street parking.
they're working on that. Any further discussion? Council, you have any discussion?
I make a motion.
Okay, we have a motion for approval to second reading.
Yes.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second?
Second.
Second. Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Hefner,
Yes.
Councilmember Brooke,
Yes.
Councilmember Rubel,
Yes.
Councilmember Hall,
Yes.
Councilmember Chapman,
Yes.
Councilmember McMinn.
Yes.
Orders 2024-20 is approved on its second reading.
Motion to suspend the rules, put it on the third.
We have motion to suspend the rules on the third, and we have motion and second to suspend the rules. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I'd entertain a motion to adopt ordinance 2024-20.
Motion.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Brooke,
Yes.
Councilmember Rubel,
Yes.
Councilmember Hall,
Yes.
Councilmember Chapman,
Yes.
Councilmember McMinn,
Yes.
and Councilmember Hefner.
Yes.
Ordinance 2024-20 is approved and will be effective in 30 days. And we'll get the procedures out, social media and other ways, so people understand what's going on and how they apply.
And so in 30 days, we can apply?
After 30 days, yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Next on the agenda is new business ordinance 2024-21. You read title, please.
An ordinance repealing and replacing ordinances 2003-01 and ordinance 2012-04, setting general rules and regulations for Willow and Busby Lakes, establishing fishing limits for both lakes, setting penalties thereto, and for other purposes.
Hi, Michelle.
Hi.
In discussion last month with Willow Lake, we got to look, and there's two different ordinances for both lakes, and they didn't say exactly the same thing, so we wanted to bring those together, make sure that they both say the same thing and how it applies to both lakes. And Michelle and I have worked through this, and I think it's a good ordinance. Anything you want to add to this, Michelle?
I think it's in the best interest just to, protect
Have one
everything for
location.
further use and for future
And once we
generations.
get these ordinances approved, then we will have signs made and put that, we have one at Busby Lake, but we'll have one put over at Willow Lake too, so the rules are stated at the lakes.
Yes.
Can I ask how we how we enforce this? How do
Just like we always have. Best we can. I mean,
Local, with
and
us
it-
having, sorry, Mayor.
Go ahead.
With us having rules posted, Game and Fish will then help us enforce. They can't take the initiative because it is private technically, but once we have something posted, then they can also reinforce those as well as our local.
Right.
I have two questions. for
Sure.
this. First one is the trout stamp deal. Is that regulated by Game and Fish for private ponds for catching trout that are in
Private
there?
ponds, I don't know, but it's a municipal pond. I don't know.
If they stock it, they can Plus the stamp.
So,
I think the big thing with that is then if we can get into the community fishing like we do for the stocking program,
Right.
if we get into that, then part of their thing is stocking trout.
so the reason that I'm asking that is because there's not that requirement in some of the other community ponds around that stock the brook trout and stuff. There's no trout stamp requirement for those community ponds.
We pulled this, I believe, off
So-
of Game and Fish's
But,
rules.
and, the other thing is the purpose of us setting limits on that. Is that,
That's also Game and Fish.
I know normally those are set off of biological studies of what is gonna promote more in the waters. Is that something that changes later? Or is that basically off of what Game and Fish has put in there?
And what was in
if
the old ordinances.
Okay, I get that, but what I'm saying is we are setting limits on fish in a community pond
Right.
that is studied by the Game and Fish Commission, regardless of what ordinance it was on. I'm asking the purpose of that.
So that was my concern. So talking with Game and Fish, because it's not part of their properties or anything like that, it's private, it's up to us to set whatever, which then come to find out, I mean, it was just, of course, opening the one can of worms, you know. So I had found the ordinance then where Busby had all, and then talking to them, it would be council that sets the fishing limits, but, you know, my concern is for future and the health of
Absolutely.
it. So I have been in contact with Game and Fish. In fact, University of Pine Bluff came out today to give me some help with Busby structure. But we can get fish counts and things like that done. I mean, it's just not a, you know, quick process, but I think the point they were trying to make is just to somewhat regulate, just to try to keep it, and then as we do and they come and they can, you know, we can get into whatever programs they have where they can fish count, then they can say, hey, your, you know, bass is too much or not enough, or,
Right.
you know, and
And
then they'll guide
that-
us more.
That's what led to my question, is gonna, you know, to amend this every time is gonna take council action because it's an ordinance. That was my only concern on it. And it's not just community ponds that do it. I mean, you got Game and Fish on property that they set limits on certain fish depending on the different structures and things like that. I can speak on this. I probably fish more than anybody in this building right now, yearly. But, I mean, that was my only question, is it's taken council approval to change this when the study's done. I mean, this is gonna be an
It's just a
ongoing
matter
deal.
of-
So that was my purpose in asking, why is that listed on the ordinance?
Well, it needs to be listed on the ordinance and changing it later on down the road is amendment.
How about we'll be posted?
The catch limit for catfish is on the Arkansas Game Fish Commission fishing booklet. It's in there.
All of these limits are.
Yeah,
So
this
if-
is based off of,
So if they're
which
already
is
in,
Busby, it's the community
so it's
fishing
already in there,
program.
do we need to specify limits in the ordinance or not just say refer to the Arkansas Game Fish Commission? Boat fishing booklet? Can we not just do that instead of putting, because the limits are there already in the book? You make it more stringent, but you can't make it less.
True.
So if you wanna make it more stringent, then okay, but if you wanna make it the same, just say, according to fishing regulations, Arkansas Game and Fish Commission.
So
That's what it
in lieu of the fishing limits / registrations per calendar day, you would just say fishing limits / restrictions per current Game and Fish guidelines.
Yes.
I mean, I think that would cover the game wardens being able to enforce anything that's over there. I mean, we need like the no bow fishing, the no boats, no kayaks, all of the other rules that are in there. I mean, I understand, but coming in and having to change this as they do fish studies and things, just kind of seemed counterproductive to me.
But if you want to limit the amount of catfish caught, then so be it, you can do that, because like I said, it's in the fish booklet already, Ward, Busby Lake, whatever, 5 catfish limit.
But we're replacing it with this one, so.
Oh, okay, I'm just saying, but it's gonna be in the booklet, so.
Well, now then I'm getting two different directions here. Per the Game and Fish booklet, but we want to limit the catfish, so which are we gonna do?
Are you gonna have it posted?
at each lake?
Yes.
Limit?
Yeah, so that's the big thing is getting signs posted out at Willow and on probably the biggest thing with Willow is that it does already have a sunset to sun or sunrise to sunset needs to be posted, and which it desperately needs. It's people's backyards. I mean, so getting signage, we might as well get it all on there and get it posted and
Posted?
regulate, and that's kind of where it's all coming from. So.
My only thought was an officer, one of our officers responds or just goes out there and you have too many fish, and it says on the rules per Game and Fish publication. Well, he doesn't have the Game and Fish publication. He's not a fisherman.
Well,
He
so
doesn't know.
that's are you gonna have limits on a sign?
Certified
Yeah, I mean, if-
officers in the state of Arkansas can enforce game.
I understand that, but what I'm saying is there wouldn't be anything on the sign saying how many fish they could have other than looking it up, which I guess you could on their phone. You're right. Everything's on Google.
That's true.
Well, that's what I was asking, is it gonna be posted, the limits and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, and we probably won't get into every, I mean, because then you're
Well, if we
posting
change
too
the
much.
ordinance
But
to
Busby,
say
it has
per Game and
catfish
Fish publication, that's exactly what we're gonna
Right.
put on the sign because that's what the ordinance says.
Now, Busby is in the community program, fishing program, which then, so that's why it's listed in the, and so that's what those are set by, is what Game and Fish sets for recommends for the community fishing pond. So that's why Busby has what it has and Willow doesn't, but that's where our guideline just came from, is following that too.
Busby Lake shows up in that footprint.
It does.
Yeah.
So, I mean, all we would need to do is.
Per the publication?
For them to put Willow Lake in the community as well.
And that's fine. I mean, just something in place to, you know, I mean, you want to protect it.
Are you fine with it just in the ordinance being per
Yeah.
public? Okay.
Yeah. And once, you know, I don't know how long it's going to take. I mean, I can't imagine it's super quick, but it is something because we don't know what's in there. We're not actively stocking. I mean, Busby with catfish, we're actively stocking, but so it would make sense to know what's in there, but to wait till then is.
So, with that comments, can I get a motion to change section 3B4 to state just per Game and Fish publication? I'm sorry, come on up, sir.
But she's still standing there speaking.
Well, I'm sorry.
Or as posted?
Hang on a second. Yes, sir.
Heath Corbershley. I kind of disagree with it,
Okay.
going with the Game and Fish, because they are small ponds. And like brim, your limit's 50 a day. So, you know, if you're catching that many out of this size ponds, you're going to fish those out.
True.
And that's what's happening. As you know, we stock them. I know we stock Busby for the fishing tournament, and we shut it down, have the fishing tournament. It gets hammered for about 2 weeks, and then there's no fish left because people snagging them and taking everything out. So they're getting overfished because they know that they're getting stocked. So I think we do need to have a smaller limit on some of the fish because it's 50 for brim. You said you fish a lot. I do too. 50 for brim, 15 on crappie, 15 on bass, and I think it's 3 on catfish. You know, if all of us went out to one of these ponds and caught all those right after it was stocked, we just caught everything they stocked. So for a year or whatever till we restock it, those ponds are dead. You know, they're basically dead ponds. And another thing that I think we might want to look at, I'm a proponent for putting a slot limit on them, because it's got to where whenever slot limit sizes.
Okay.
If it's between on catfish, if it's 8 inches to 15 inches, you can't keep it. You got to put it back. Because what I'm seeing now on some of them, I've taken some kids in the neighborhood over there fishing, and you're catching 2-3 inch fish, and that's it. Well, you know, let's just catch it and throw it back because you can't do anything with them.
Right.
So I think there needs to be something so that we can at least grow some of the fish in there, get some that are a little decent size, have that little slot limit on the catfish, and usually you don't see them on brim, or it's usually bass. Sometimes you see them on catfish. A slot limit to where we can at least have something in there and quit having to restock as much as well. So I think it does need to be a little bit smaller, no bigger than these ponds are, and the number of people that go and fish in these ponds. Because they're getting fished out. I mean, I think most of us in here has probably been by there after the fishing tournament's over, and there will be 30, 40 people out there at Busby for 2-3 weeks, and then it's just 1 or 2 people because there's no fish out there anymore. So I think we need to possibly look at that.
Thank you. Appreciate the input.
I think it should be like, as posted in the Game and Fish, unless otherwise posted. That
Well-
way, because a sign, posted a sign is gonna be a lot cheaper than changing the ordinance every year or,
It would be changed every year. You're probably looking at every 3-5 years, maybe.
but still, I think we need a sign and
Well, we're going to put a sign up there regardless of what we do. He brings up a good point. I'm not a fisherman, but he brings up a good point. Yes, ma'am.
Sorry.
Oh, you're good.
Cheryl Lakeman again. I have a question. I think you brought up a really good point, and I'm sorry, I don't know your name. I think you brought up a really good point about the trout stamp. I know enough about fishing, like, I know nothing about fishing. I do know that, like, if you want to catch trout, you go to the Little Red River, and you have a trout stamp because you're going to be catching trout. In the ponds, I don't know, but, you know, if you catch a trout in the pond and you don't have your trout stamp that you buy, and police come by or Game and Fish come by, you're going to get fined. Yeah, so that's something that definitely needs, I don't even know if there's trout in these ponds. I have no clue. But, you know, you're already buying a fishing license to fish, and then if you're going to be, sounds like if you're going to do that, you might be forced to buy a trout stamp just in case you catch a trout in the pond. So that was just my comment. That was a good point.
in Cabot, they only stock the trout when it's cold. It's usually like December to February, and that's the only time you have to have a trout stamp. And if you are a trout fisherman, which I do trout fishing, then you're going to go other places, White River, wherever. So it's not like you have to have a trout stamp all the time in July. You don't have to have a trout stamp to fish there in July. It's just whenever they stock it, and they die as soon as the water gets cold or hot.
Okay, just to kind of clear the trout stamp up, I did pull it up. Yes, a trout permit is required to keep trout from any waters in Arkansas, including private ponds, unless you are under 16 years old or have the $1,000 lifetime hunting and fishing resident license. So yes, if we do, trout stamps will be
So it needs to have a trout
required.
permit.
Yep,
period. Yeah.
along
Okay.
with your fishing license.
Well, thank you.
Only when there's trout in the pond.
Right.
But your trout stamp's good for
Oh,
all
yes,
years, so.
12 months.
I mean, you buy it for December, you're gonna have it till the next December anyway.
Okay, thank you. All right, council,
Have trout.
we've heard a lot of input. My recommendation, council, is leave it as is, as we presented it to the council with the fishing limits as they stand. If we come back in 2 years and have to redo it, we got to redo it, but we redo ordinances all the time.
Motion to approve as it stands.
We have a motion to approve as it stands,
Second.
and we have a second. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Rubel,
Yes.
Councilmember Hall,
Yes.
Councilmember Chapman,
Yes.
Councilmember McMahon,
Yes.
Councilmember Hefner,
Yes.
and Councilmember Brooke.
Yes.
Was that a yes, sir? Okay. Ordinance 2024-21 is approved on its first reading. We'll carry it forward to next
Question.
month. Yes, sir.
Is this something that we need to handle like now in
No.
order to get signage put on Willow?
I mean, the sooner we get it done, the sooner we can get signage put up, yes.
Is this, I mean, is there, you think there's a need for an emergency on this so that we can get signage put up?
I don't think there's a need for an emergency. We
Or put-
reserve
I mean, you
it.
know what I mean, put it on the second and third.
It wouldn't hurt if that's up to y'all, if you want to waive the second and third reading.
Motion.
So a
Second,
motion
third.
to waive the second and third reading?
Yes.
We have a motion to waive. Do we have a second? Second. We have a motion and second to waive the second and third reading. Any further discussion?
I would still like to see, unless otherwise posted, to cover our heinies down the road.
I don't think we're not, come on up. I don't think it needs to be posted because it's Game and Fish rules apply anyway.
I know I have it listed on our website, that's, because we can't list everything, I think it just says,
Yeah, Game-
also, you know, whatever other rules apply.
These are our local rules. Game and Fish applies regardless if it's posted or not.
Yeah, but
It says no duck, we don't have any no duck hunting on there either, but if you shoot one over, I promise you
they might like those geese.
So, no duck
I was gonna
hunting.
say,
All right.
I
we
don't know
got
if the
a-
residents
wait,
mind
wait.
on the geese, but.
And I do like the fact that you have, I do like the fact that you have trapping at your discretion because of those beavers.
We have a motion and a second on the floor to waive the rules for second and third reading. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? I entertain a motion to adopt ordinance 2024-21.
Motion to adopt.
We have a motion,
Second.
and we have a second. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Hall,
Yes.
Councilmember Chapman,
Yes.
Councilmember McMahon,
Yes.
Councilmember Hefner,
Yes.
Councilmember Brooke,
Yes.
and Councilmember Rubel.
Yes.
Ordinance 2024-21 has been approved, adopted, and it'll be ready in 30 days. In effect in 30 days. All right. Resolution 2024-42. Read the title, please.
A resolution authorizing and approving payment of year-end bonuses to qualified employees and repealing and replacing Resolution 2016-11.
Council, this is just an administrative thing. We pulled out the planning commission people out of this ordinance, resolution because they're now getting paid monthly, and just a couple other administrative changes.
I'll make a motion to approve, but I also want to add a statement that, on record, that I want to look at the fire department's deal come budget time, because it's actually kind of disheartening that we only give those guys $75
Well, they're
a
also
year.
being paid by run now. We did that with this year's budget. If they make the runs, then they get paid for the runs.
How much are we
those-
paying them per
Well,
run?
yeah, I'd have to look at it depends on if it's a rescue call, or if it's over 2 hours, if it's an actual working fire, there's a whole parameter. If they make the calls, yes, they get paid more. But if they don't make the calls, at least they get paid $75 to be on a department. Previously, they didn't get paid nothing but $75. We're trying to move forward to paying them a little bit as per call so we can work the budget up to, eventually, we have 2 part-timers, 2 full-time positions, but we have to work the budget up slowly. That's what, so I understand what you're saying, but they are paying paid if they make the calls. Those who don't want to make the calls, don't get paid.
So I was just looking at it at $75 a year with no ongoing and, raises, what do you, years of service increase, yeah.
Oh, well,
So
that-
that was,
I get what you're saying, but, and budget, we'll talk about the budget later on, but, yeah, that's something we can talk about, but they are being paid if they make the calls.
I still have a motion on for approving this.
Okay, so we have a motion second to approve
Second.
okay, we have a second. Any discussion, any public discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Chapman,
Yes.
Councilmember McMahon,
Yes.
Councilmember Hefner,
Yes.
Councilmember Brooke,
No.
and Councilmember Rubel,
Yes.
and Councilmember Hall.
Yes.
Resolution 2024-42 has been approved. Thank you, council. Next on the agenda is Resolution 2024-43.
A resolution authorizing the mayor and/or city clerk to enter into a contract with Half Associates, Inc. for the purpose of design engineering services, advertisement, and bid management of the Safe Routes to School Phase 5 project.
Council, it's just another phase of getting these sidewalks done. We need the engineering services to do the design phase and the bid services.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion second. Any discussion? Any public discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmember McMahon,
Yes.
Councilmember Hefner,
Yes.
Councilmember Brooke,
Yes.
Councilmember Rubel,
Yes.
Councilmember Hall,
Yes.
Councilmember Chapman.
Yes. Resolution 2024-43 has been approved. Thank you, council. Next on the agenda is the annual renewal of the real property millage rates. They're currently at 5 mills. I need a motion to continue with the 5 mills.
Motion.
A motion with second?
Is this an additional 5 mills to what we're just,
No, this
okay.
continues
Second.
every year. Yeah. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next on the agenda is a corrected typographical error on ordinance 2024-11. WF 793 should actually read WP 793, which are ordinances that we had repealed and replaced. A simple correction. Need a motion to approve. Motion. A motion of second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We'll take care of that. Next on the agenda was discussion on quotes for water tank inspection. Council, if you remember, last month you gave us approval to go for RFPs to get some tanks repaired, but we're not going to do that yet. In looking at it, discussing with the engineer, discussing with Department of Health, those reports were 4 years old. We want to go back out and get a fresh tank inspection so we can look at it with a clean eye on that. So we've already, I thought I was going to have to come to you for approval. We got a bid in from the previous company that did the previous one. It's below my spending authority, so I've already signed the contract, and they'll be inspected in the next 4 or 5 weeks. Department of Health has approved this procedure, so we just go on there. So this is not doesn't need your approval, just letting you know. All right. Next on the agenda is my report. Safe Route to School 4, which is Chantier and Castleton area, still waiting RDOT's approval to put the bid out. The Safe Route to School Phase 5, we just approved the engineering study and the engineering design and bid process. The removal of the homes, the remaining homes off of vacuum. Brought you last month about the possible getting a loan from ADC, or from yes, thank you, ARDC. All the acronyms run together. We're still evaluating using reserve funds versus loan. There's no immediate need to make action right now. I'll just keep you informed. Street Aid project, we're still projected for October to do these 6 streets. Still waiting whether or not we got the call for project or got the project approved for the Moore Crossing design phase. Parks and Tourism grant, a lot of discussion last month on Willow Lake parking, Busby Lake parking, the park parking. We end up not doing anything. We were too far along we were less than a week away from the deadline and just could not get it together to submit a package that would be possibly get it approved. So we did not move forward with that. We'll attack that again next time it comes up. Water tank inspections, we just talked about that. Demolition of the city facilities that have been approved and funded. September 26th, I believe, is the start date on that. Unified Development Ordinance, the Planning Commission continues to review. We are awaiting the installation of the 4th camera license plate reader. If you've been watching the news anytime about the attempted assassination attempt on former President Trump, the information got put out in license plate reader cameras and it was nabbed quickly. That's the beauty of that. That's really good. The Consolidated 911 Center, the executive director has been hired, the construction contract has been signed, and the state board elected to give a total of $800,000 to this project. So our amount went down tremendously, what we're going to have to divvy up. And November 11th, which is Veterans Day, I know that's a holiday, I'd like to schedule a budget working session for the 2025 budget at 6:30 in the evening with the CPA.
What day is that on?
That's on a Monday. Who can attend?
That's our water committee meeting too, so.
It's a holiday on a Monday? I ain't gone for 3 days.
Well, it's in, in working with the CPA, that's the day he's available. Okay, who can attend? I know, some things. Of course, we could also, do it by Zoom too. That's just a working group. So,
Yeah,
Can we,
big-
get back?
excuse me?
Can we get back to you on this one? Next day or
Quickly,
two?
quickly, yeah. Yeah, next day or two, so we can make sure the CPA is available. We'll put this on hold. I'll have Jamie or somebody poll you all and see if this day is still good. Okay?
What
You can put me
day,
down on a yes, because I will already be here.
All right.
isn't there a deadline that we have to have this budget meeting?
No, there's no actual requirement for a budget meeting.
Okay, well,
There's a requirement that you have to have a budget approved by the end of the year,
That's it.
unless you go forward to the end of January with ordinance. And we don't want to do that, because then you have to, it's a pain. So we do the budget hearing, budget working group session in November, then it's presented to you all in December for approval. All right, that's my report for today. Do we have anybody signed up for public speaking? None?
I think they all,
Anything else before this, pardon me?
oh, I think they all came out.
Okay, anything else for this council? Would you like to speak about something?
I would like to have a bounty on,
A bounty?
yes, a bounty on Bradford pears.
Bradford pears.
Those things are a nuisance, they are invasive, and $2,000 put back to where 1,000 of it goes to planting as we pull up on the street. What?
I'm not real sure we could do this.
Why?
Go ahead.
And then the other 1,000 be put back towards the community if they bring us a Bradford pear. Fayetteville's doing this right now,
How much money are you talking about if you get a Bradford pear?
$25.
$25?
So you can go buy it.
I was gonna say, you got me. It's
Well-
about to be cleared. I got a few, and I got a whole bunch that line our driveway, so.
Hey, Chris, you want to come up here and weigh in on this, sir?
Can this be done? I know Fayetteville is doing it.
You talk about unprepared.
I know,
wasn't ready for that.
I didn't know about this either, so
I
sorry.
wasn't ready for that. If there's another city doing it, I'd be very interested to see what they're doing, because I've not heard of that.
Well, I do know Fayetteville is offering a bounty, and that's why I used that word, because they are offering a bounty on Bradford pears.
I would have to read up on that a little bit before I made any comments.
But the things are very invasive, and as we know, driving down the street, they're all broke every time we have a windstorm. Yes. And so I would love to have fruit trees or pecans, something native to Arkansas. And my thinking is if they chop down a Bradford pear, give them $25 to go buy another tree at a nursery that maybe we can make a deal with. That,
What if Councilmember McMahon plants a Bradford pear forest and cuts them down every year for the money?
no, it would be, there would be a limit. Okay.
That's a good idea.
Here's the details of the program there. The
Okay.
reward is one native tree or shrub for each Bradford pear that's tree removed. The property owners within the city limits who cut down a Bradford tree pear, submission, take a picture of the cut down tree early spring or email it to Urban Forestries at Fayetteville, Arkansas.gov, and bring it to the Parks and Recreation office. Then you pick up a native tree or shrub at the Parks and Rec. So it's not money, it's a replacement.
One-for-one replacement.
Yeah.
So it's not a prohibition
We've already
on planting them.
replanted because our Bradford pears that line our driveways have been there for, 30 years now, because we've kept them trimmed so that they would get a bigger base. But we've already planted trees on the outside that we actually got through Arbor Day and got through some things to plant on the outside.
So it's not a prohibition on planting them, it's a reward for taking one out. Where would the funding come from would be my question.
Well, that's what I'm asking for, is $2,000. $1,000 for her to plant native trees at the park, and then $1,000
Why don't
for,
we, when we talk about this during the budget meeting?
Like a donation or something? Is that what you're talking
a donation from the city. Well,
about? To fund the project?
I had asked for $50,000 to do a study on the community center, and that was approved, but it was never done, so there's that sitting there. That was in the budget. I don't know, but I'm just saying $2,000, $1,000 for Michelle to have to plant native trees at the park, around the city, wherever, and then $1,000 for the bounty, which we could use the money to buy trees rather than giving them cash or a voucher, whatever.
Well, I guess, how many trees would that buy?
200? No. For 20? Yeah.
This is something that needs to be talked about in the budget
My
meeting.
math.
I don't think it's impossible. I just think.
I don't think it's impossible, but it's something that needs to be talked about in the budget meeting.
And the irony behind all this, so if you don't know the history, about 40 years ago, my mom headed up the city beautification for the city of Ward. She obviously was a big pear tree fan and didn't know how invasive they were. So she actually got the money together to plant pear trees all around the city.
But they don't even do.
They weren't wild. They were like whatever. But there are a lot of wild pear trees that are about to be cut down.
So we can blame it on the
behind
Spence
theirs.
family.
It's Margie. She's
That's where the
deceased, God bless her.
donation's coming from.
The city of North Little Rock had trees along the median
Yes.
of McCain for years. They got too big and these were oak trees. And they got tired of pruning them, so they cut them all down. And so there was nothing there for a while. Now they're planting oak trees again. So these things, that happens.
Okay. Well, wait a minute. Just come on up, Aaron.
I was clerk for the tree board in Tip City, Ohio,
There
and
you
I
go.
created a buyback program. I'd be more than willing to come to the budget meeting and explain how I did that and how we were able to use private funds and city funds to be able to make that happen.
I'll tell you
See,
this.
they laugh at me.
Would you get that together and bring it to the next council meeting? I'll
I
put you
will.
on the agenda for October.
Okay, I can do that.
Put it on the agenda. All
Thank
right?
you, Aaron.
Thanks, Aaron. We have a local expert. Did not know that. All right. Anything else we need to speak about? Hearing nothing, I didn't take a motion. Yes, sir, I'm sorry.
That's all right. I have just, I brought this up briefly last year and we didn't follow through with it, but upgrading our Christmas decorations for the city.
Yeah.
Oh, we did, didn't we?
We did the
Well,
tree,
we
but
have the tree with the chamber, if you remember.
I'm talking
We paid
about
for half of it.
the
The things
lighting
that go on the
on the poles and things like that.
That's a good idea. We'll take a look at it. I'm pointing at Brian, put that on your agenda for. What? Yes, sir. Put that on your agenda for this week.
Okay, I'm on it.
Okay, you're on it? Good deal.
We'll discuss it in the morning.
Okay. We'll look at it. See what. Anything else? Yes, ma'am. Go ahead. We got, apparently it's open mic night.
It is. September 30th, Chamber's having a meet and greet, starting at 5:30 here at the City Hall. We're trying
Dining
to.
room.
Huh?
In the dining room.
In the dining room. We're trying to reinvent, I don't know. Revigorate, yeah, renew the chamber, 5:30. It'll be a drop-in. We'll have some snacks and pass out information about the chamber and people that may be interested in joining and helping us reinvent and renew the chamber.
I'll be there.
And she is the president, so.
I don't want to serve as long as Sharon.
That's a Monday.
Okay. It is.
It's a Monday.
Do we have anything else? Sure, we have announcements. Would you like to see announcements? Let's go to announcements. Planning Commission meeting September 23rd, Harvest Fest. Harvest Fest, October 5th, 5 to 8. Next council meeting is October 15th. Early voting started October 26th, and election day is November 5th. Anything else for this council?
Motion to
Oh, did you want to go in
adjourn.
executive? You make that motion?
I make a motion, we go into executive session
And the purpose for you wanting to do that? That has a reason.
to find out about disciplinary action.
We have a motion to go into executive session, talk about disciplinary action on an employee. Do we have a motion? Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any disapprove? Okay, we are going to retire to my office. You all are welcome to stay here.
Stay or go.
Seems how you got told when you got the Christmas lights tomorrow.
You go this way.
We were so close.
Did you see Ross's face?
We were so
Did
close.
you see his face?
You not get to go?
No. It's a private, I could have before, but now.
It's so funny. I just want to try to try to read.
Every time, there's always something.
This is actually the first city council meeting we've been to. Our live online after the fact. And we come to the planning commissions and that with all that Dollar General. This is the first city council we've been to.
The city council was busy during that one. And then last time we had quite a bit coming for, because they didn't want the ordinance made to Willow Lake. We had Willow.
Nikki, this is my husband Gary. This is
I
Nikki.
worked with Gary at North Metro.
Did you?
You probably don't remember.
Long time ago then.
You worked in,
Admissions,
Admissions.
DR, yep.
I didn't know that.
I had built a special cubicle for her, and they didn't like it. She loved it, but everybody else hated the damn thing.
Really?
Yeah.
What's wrong with them? Have you been in it? Yeah.
Well, it's gone now.
I was gonna say, have you been in
Yes.
it since North,
Since Unity took over, yes.
And
it's
then I was
gorgeous.
working for Unity, but that's when Steve passed and I quit. But I went through there while they were demoing it.
Oh, I really would have loved to have gone through there whenever demo it, so the maintenance guys could say, God damn, what the hell is that shit they got up there?
So the moment that Unity bought it, they started taking down the drop ceilings, you know, and they were wires down because they wanted to see what all.
Freaking Ned didn't hang, he just throw wires up.
Do you remember
on top of that
Jimmy?
ceiling. Huh?
Do you remember Jimmy?
Yeah, little Jimmy, yeah. Boy, yeah, he did. He had a heart attack at home, drank too much, smoked too much.
But I got to see him. I got to see him before. But yeah.
The last time I saw him was at his house. And I was going to help him. He had a old Sears metal building he had bought. And it was all in his yard. And he goes, Gary, can you help me put this together? I said, yeah, Jimmy. I said, where's the directions for it? I don't know, I lost them. I said, oh my God, Jimmy, how now? I said, man, this is 37,000 pieces and 50,000 bolts and nuts. Really? I said, yeah, look at them. I mean, it was a bag of bolts and nuts. Yeah, she did. She went outside. I don't know if she did or not. But, yeah,
Bless his heart. That's all I got to say. Bless his heart.
Did it
the
ever
best.
get up?
He
I
did-
mean, did the building ever?
No.
Did it not? I was gonna say, I'm sure it did knowing you.
No, it never got put up because by the time I got back over to help him, he just said, "I screw it. I don't want to mess with it."
We went camping a couple of weeks back and we had a tent that we've not put up in forever. And the only thing we can figure was the directions might have been on the box and the box got thrown away. And it's a 6-person tent. It's a big tent.
Yeah.
And Beth and the kids were coming up for a couple nights to camp with us, so some of them were gonna sleep in the tent. It was so freaking funny. Gary and I trying to put that.
Did you get it?
We
Yeah.
finally got it.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I was like, Gary,
you just have to think about.
Walmart's got tents for $99. Why don't we just not
Go
worry about
get
this
it.
one and go get a new tent
Get
with
one of those you can
directions?
just like shake it.
I said, all you have to do is think about, because, I mean, they were color coordinated. I mean, they had like green stickers, green stickers, red to red,
Yeah.
orange to orange. But you just have to think about where it actually went and how it came out.
People watched, I don't know if anybody was watching us, but they were probably cracking up if they were, because it was like
Where were y'all camping?
Heber.
Up in-
But
but.
But we had this, you know, we had this $40,000 camper sitting there, we're out there.
Put it in. I know. We thought it was like,
Where?
Lake Darwin. It's right up in northern Louisiana, but it's a beautiful state park, shaded, and we've got our buddies there. It's nice.
Are the mosquitoes real bad?
Not when it's cold.
Yeah, well, this
It's
mosquitoes are
never
bad
bad,
for us,
yeah.
you know. We stayed in. No, Maryside, you can't go out at after dark in Maryside. The mayflies are so bad down there that you just can't go out.
I got a video.
We stayed in a park in some state park in Mississippi. We were on our way down and we decided it was like on that little highway you pull off. Remember you going down the highway down?
Yeah. We spent the night there.
Yeah, we didn't even unhook the trailer. We just dropped it down. We just dropped the stabilizer bars down, hooked up the fire.
Climbed in.
And the mosquitoes were so bad down there, it was pathetic. We didn't even come out of the camper till the next day.
When it gets so hot, I don't even want, I'll tell Pete. Here we go. These are her buddies. We're watching the games.
You get TV reception out there or y'all satellite?
I think they were.
Y'all got it all fixed up.
This is their camp host, and that's another couple bills on the other side. We had all these people.
Well, cool.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, we like trying new places out, so.
You know, we're retired, so we just could go wherever. What are you, 40 now?
42.
You know, hell, you still got 20 years to go. Yeah.
I just retired.
You know, they fired me at North Metro.
No, I didn't know that.
They said I was rude and obnoxious, imagine that.
You got on somebody's bad side.
Well,
I
you're
was
one of the
on
lucky ones that got.
I was on Cindy Stafford fired list.
And then Cindy Stafford got fired.
They tried 5 years to fire me.
Oh, we're talking about North Metro.
Talking about North Metro. Nikki, tell us.
Okay.
Oh, they're coming back.
Oh, no, shoot.
No, we're talking about North Metro. And we gotta get out of the way.
Well, we was talking about the other.
Bye, baby.
Yeah.
Good
See
talking to
you.
you.
Bye, y'all.
Sorry.
That was an old work buddy right there.
Mayor.
Yes.
A trouble.
I want to hear about the street. I want to hear about the street cars.
Yeah.
Motion.
That's the one that I.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Hang on a second.
Second.
Hang on. You can't do that. Okay. Now we're bringing it back in session. Now I entertain a motion to adjourn. Oh, wait a minute.
Well,
Brought it back in session, from executive session, no action taken by the council. Now, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
We adjourn.
Second,
third, second.
we're done, thank you.